Welcome to Helpful Human Design Tips. This week we are focusing on the law of compensation and gate 29, which is located in your sacral center in your human design chart. This has a couple different names that have been thrown around. You have the gate of perseverance, the gate of commitment, the gate of the abysmal. It's kind of an intense gate. And when you are in super alignment with this gate, then you are committing to things in your life that are resonating with your authority. And if you are not, then perhaps you are burning yourself out and seeing some kind of physical symptoms that go along with this. Now, this is a gate that is in my personal human design chart. It is in my conscious Jupiter, I believe, and is part of my Pearl sequence in the gene keys. Now, our gene keys are, they're kind of like a little bit more in-depth, more essence of all of the human design gates, if you've never heard of them. And they show up in kind of three different frequencies. You have your shadow frequency, you have your gift frequency, and you have your city frequency. Your shadow frequency can show itself in either a repressive or a reactive nature. When you are moving towards the gift of this gate, then you are kind of at the ultimate what would be considered on this 3D plane. And then your city, I always think of as kind of that 4D element where we are moving towards consciousness, love, and everything. It's really lovely. But today I want to talk about this in relation to the law of compensation. So the law of compensation I talked about in my last video about how it is energetic exchange, and we want to make sure that we are funneling out energy from ourselves into the universe in a nice, clear stream. And oftentimes when we are doing that, we are kind of leaking energy in various places because we live in a very distracting world, right? So this week I have been doing a lot of contemplation on this particular gate, and it is very interesting how I have seen it shown up in my life and how I have kind of pulled in my energy to where it is more or less flowing with the gift, but this is something that we always have to kind of flow with a little bit off and on, kind of focus, be mindful, and be intentional about, right? So I want to talk about those three vibrations: the shadow, the gift, and the city. Okay, so when you are in the shadow of this gate, then you are kind of giving off this half-hearted vibe. All right, this is where we are talking about the energetic leaks. You are half-heartedly watching TV. You are half-heartedly listening to conversations around you. You may be half-heartedly giving any energy that you have towards any event or work or whatever endeavor that you are moving towards in this life. So there are two different ways that this can show up. You have your repressive nature, I guess, or the reactive. When you are in the repressive part of this particular shadow, which I feel like I have been in a lot in my life personally, this repressiveness is overcommitting. This gate wants to say yes. It wants to say yes to everything. It wants to, at least for me, it wants to get that gold star. It wants to give its energy to just about everything, in either to people please, to fulfill some fantasy. It wants to say yes. And oftentimes when we are overcommitting, we are not listening to our authorities in some sense. And so it does feel very it feels very repressive, right? Because we're saying, sure, I'll do that. But there's something inside of us that just says, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's not do that. But we feel like we've already committed to that thing. So we go ahead and follow through, and then it throws everything out of alignment, and it's just not good. Okay, this is how we are moving towards burnout and such, right? And I know that my generation, Gen X, this was kind of, at least where I came from, this was kind of ingrained in me, right? Like, you make a commitment, you follow through on the commitment, that's that. Now, the reactive vibe of this particular gate is unreliability, which I feel maybe is more happening around us now, where, we have people who are just kind of phoning things in. They are too distracted, or they are finding ways to distract themselves, or they are, not completing things and everything. I don't know if this is generational. This has probably always been like that. But I know that when I was younger, it was more of the repressive. Now I see more of the reactive, but that's just around me. That could be what I'm attracting too, because I'm trying to contemplate this particular gate, right? So these are all breeding grounds for us to take a real good look at what we are putting our energy towards and saying, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, I want to commit to something, which comes back to, well, what do you want to commit to? And I think that this is a question that I know that as I am rolling in my 40s, there are some things that I'm obviously very committed to, but there are other things that I'm questioning because, this is kind of a turning point in our lives, right? We always have these times in our lives where we're like, is this really what I want to do? Is this really how I want to be? It's a good time to kind of reevaluate that. So when I was contemplating this particular gate, one of the things that it was talking about in the Gene Key sequence is that every commitment that we make ever has a cycle. Maybe the cycle is very short. Maybe it's one day. Maybe it's 1 hour. Maybe the cycle is a lifetime or whatever. Oftentimes, cycles, when we are rolling in the shadow of vibration, cycles are not completed because people are not committing all of their energy to this thing. And so they are not completing the cycle, and they are not getting to where they want to go fast enough. So when you start pulling in your energetic leaks and you find something and you commit to something, which is the gift of this gate, when you commit to something, that's when you can start making those quantum leaps, because you are saying, this is what I want to put my time towards. This is what I'm going to put my energy towards. And I am going to ride this out until the end of its cycle, however long that may be. And then that's when the quantum leaps happen, which I thought was very, very interesting, because I have seen this at many stages in my life with jobs, with relationships, with projects and everything, where I have been in that repressive state of like overcommitting, or I have been in the reactive state of unreliability. But on those few things that I have committed to, it has led to very, very great satisfaction. And I don't know why, but at the moment I can look at things. I'm a very project-based kind of person. I think I can commit to something if I know that there is an end date. So if I'm working with a company or someone and they're like, oh, this is like an ongoing project that you're just going to have to do forever, I can't commit to that, because for me, there is no end cycle for me to see. And so I have a really hard time with that. But if I have a date in mind, then I could commit like really well. I had a couple of big things when my boys were younger, when they were babies. Somehow I got it into my mind that I was going to cloth diaper them and I was going to make all of their food. And It was a big commitment that there were times where it really, really exhausted me, but I knew that it was such a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things, just a couple of years, that I was able to commit to that thing. And I can look back now and feel, pretty satisfied that I did that for whatever reason that I did that for. And so that is what commitment is about. It is finding that thing that lights you up inside and then following through with that and committing to it. Now, the city of this gate is devotion, which is something that's a hard concept for me to grasp right now, right? As I am kind of at the very beginning stages of the gate of the gift of commitment, devoting myself to something other than my family just feels really big and huge, and like something that like this is what I have to bring forth and see through. That's like commitment on an uber level scale. That is something that I am trying to work towards at some point. But for now, it's looking around me and seeing what values I have in my house and committing myself to those values and making sure that those values are in alignment with my emotional authority, because that's what I am. So in order to do that, then I need to make sure that I am not leaking out any energy so that when I send my energy out into the universe and it comes back to me, it's bringing me the full force of that prosperity that I want. And so that is gate 29 for me. If you have this defined in your chart, then let me know what you think. And let me know how it feels to you. And maybe tell me, what planet it's in for you, because I think it's a very interesting gate. And it's a very powerful gate. And it's one that I've honestly never really thought about much, even though it's also a really lucky gate. And since it's in my Jupiter, I feel like that's much more lucky. And it's a very important and impactful gate for me personally, but I think it is for everyone, because we all have access to these gates, whenever we are going out into the world and interacting with other people, or because of the planets moving around us. So keep this in mind whenever you see gate 29, think like, I got some really good luck on my side. What can I commit to at this time? So that is my helpful human design tip for gate 29. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you later.